Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5 and 6. Shabbat Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachah Kodesh, and double honor to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. Right, so brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson, and Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and this is going to be a quick video, and I got this article that I wanted to jump into real quick. All right, which was sent to me by the beloved brother Shalimah. Okay, and the title says, Pakistan uses geofencing to track disabled digital IDs of protesters. Okay, and when I read this, I was like, wow, this is crazy, because we're in the year 2025, and I believe back in 2020 or 2021, we started bringing out information on geofencing, and at that time, it wasn't really that big of a deal, right? And I remember even back in 2018, they were already talking about concepts of geofencing, right? Which was, I remember back I was working at a retail store. They were actually talking about the kind of technology that they're going to be putting in they start off by saying they're going to put it in the clothing, okay, in order to track how many units are being sold, wherever the product may be in the store or outside of the store, right? Even when the customers buy the product, they're going to have these devices, and the device they used was the RFID chip, or RFID technology is what they said. Okay, so over the past, I'll say 10 to 20 years, ESO has been testing things, on how to actually get the minds of the people to accept the MOTB. Okay, and they've used clothing, they've used the advancement of cell phones, technology, and so on and so forth. All these different things that people are, have embraced. It's pretty much become a weapon that Esau is using, against the people. Something known as silent weapons for quiet wars. Okay, so not only are they messing people up with the food, all right, or the drugs that they're putting out in the water, in the air, and so on and so forth. Okay, but also the deception that's rotting the minds of the people through the media. Okay, through the consumption of many various different types of medium. Okay, the device that broadcasts, or at least that people consume, that is being sent out by the elites. Ultimately, they're the ones who control all the TV stations that you watch on TV. If it's on mainstream TV, it's controlled. Okay, you only get to hear or see what they want you to hear or see. And anything else outside of that is deemed misinformation. All right, it's deemed conspiracy theory. It's deemed hate speech. It's deemed anti-Semitic, right? All these different things, and people are starting to piece the puzzle together. Okay, so now Esau has to take the next step and to find out who is doing what, where, when, how, and so on and so forth. Okay, and that's what we have here with geofencing. Now, what is geofencing, right? It says geofencing is a located-based technology that defines a virtual boundary around a geographical area. Okay, it uses GPS, Wi-Fi, or cellular data to track when a device or person enters or exits that area. This allows for triggered actions like targeted marketing, security alerts, or employee time tracking. Okay, so what makes you, don't you understand that companies that have people on the payroll, that you have a system of clocking in and clocking out, they're going to start implementing this type of technology? And very soon, all right, because you already have states in the U.S. right now, in Babylon, that have already pushed legislation to make microchipping by employees illegal in those states. So if they're already taking those proactive measures, what does that tell you? We know what it tells us. At least I know what it tells me. Okay, that they know that this thing is right around the corner. So they set the stage so when it comes, it's not something that can be used against them to a degree. But we know ultimately, according to prophecy, that it's going to affect everyone, all across the board. Okay? The states making those legislations and all these different things is just because people are heightened in terms of alertness to what this MOTB is and how close it is to becoming a reality. So a lot of these governments are trying to do damage control by setting up the stage to make it seem like they're against it. Kind of like Trump saying that he's not going to be part of the WHODAT, you know? But meanwhile, the WHODAT is still going to be pushing things by proxy through the CDC anyway. So it doesn't really matter if you're outwardly claiming to be part of the World Hell Zero, right? They're still going to be running shit through CDC. But anyway, bringing it back to the topic, going into geofencing, okay? Because all this stuff, what's the other one? Contact tracing, right? All these different things that people have been exposed to over the past 4 or 5 years, it's all about to culminate to this very point. Okay, because remember, you have the MOTB technology, MOTB mentality, MOTB reality. Okay, that's the 3 steps. All right, it says a single protest can now cost you your identity, your mobility, and your access to the state. Okay, Pakistani authorities have moved to disable the national ID and passports of individuals linked to the unrest that unfolded on May 9th, 2023, turning to geofencing technology to track the presence of mobile devices near demonstration sites. There you go. Okay, and it's very interesting because you have all these companies that keep pushing for CBDCs, digital identities, right? This past month, because we're in June now, it's June, right? We're in June, so May they came out with the Real ID, right? But the point is, you have all these different countries pushing for this digitalization of all things, okay? And by them being part of that One Accord Treaty, you're going to see this technology being pushed upon the people easier, right? Much more quicker and easier when a pandemic hits or whatever the case may be. With all those countries, it's gonna be like lockstep. They're all gonna be doing the same thing, saying the same thing, sounding the same, that kind of thing, right? But you're gonna start seeing people start to push back on this type of technology because Esau is promoting it like it's, they kind of focus more on the kind of things that you can do with it, right? When you look at the medical sector, you have Elon Musk with Neuralink, and they're pushing the same technology, okay, by saying that it's a miracle, right? It can cause those who are blind to see, and those who, might be physically impaired, whether it be, your arms or your legs or whatever the case may be, it can cause them to walk again or utilize those limbs again, So even May Musk, I believe the mother of Elon Musk, she came out and said basically like, people who are not suffering from any illnesses or diseases or disabilities, they're pretty much always going to be like, oh yeah, this is not a necessary technology, right? To have a brain chip in people's brains for them to, utilize these artificially installed gadgets in their bodies, right? But it's more like, you're out of touch. But hey, listen, eventually a lot of people are going to be sick, right? With this whole jump shot thing that happened, the side effects are going to start kicking in, and it's going to be right in time, perfectly, with the WHODAT saying, "Hey, listen, we gotta attack this quick," right? So the side effects of what happened 4 or 5 years ago is going to be the new form of illness / disease that they have to come in and use technology / AI to resolve that problem. The CDC is already pushing this idea of monitoring, right? Don't travel, go get your shots, go get your Vanessas. And so they've already started pushing that propaganda bullshit. Okay? And soon it's going to escalate to the point where people are going to start getting very uncomfortable. but they're going to have to put in this technology so that no matter how uncomfortable you are, it's just what you have to do. And it's going to take the Spirit of the Lord to be on you if you're of the elect to not, fall into that kind of trick. Okay? When the Lord says he's going to protect us from the hour of temptation, okay, a lot of us are going to be in situations where we're not even going to go through those kind of things that the rest of the world is going to be going through. Like, the Lord might set you up, or you in a job where everybody's recommending or requiring the MOTB mass scale, but for some way, somehow, you stay like under the radar. Every time they give a deadline, before it happens, something else happens and it pushes it back. You know what I'm saying? It's happening around the world. It's happening in different companies and shit. But for you, the Lord keeps on looking out for you. Where it's like, damn, I was supposed to be laid off by next week because I didn't take the chip. But they just came down with this new thing where the Lord had it where that day where they were about to do this and that, this and that happened. So, they weren't able to even continue with that vote. So my job, hey, we still working, we don't really have to get that thing yet. Until it comes time where everything happens, but at that time the Lord's gonna have your back covered anyway. But anyway, so going back to finishing up the point I was making, that they're pushing this technology like it's like a game changer, like it's gonna save the day and shit like that. But they're not mentioning what it actually will do. Like what kind of control you lose by taking this technology or using or utilizing this technology, and what advantage it gives them. Those who are making this technology, those who are bringing this to life. Okay? Because remember, the more AI smartens up, the dumber the people get. Not just because we could, I can utilize a computer, but AI can utilize a computer too, but they're faster. Not just that, but in the sense that AI is solving all our problems. Why should our brain be utilized at that point? I don't need to do math. I could just ask AI and it's going to give me the answer in a very short time. Especially in the days that we're living in now, where everything is digitalized, everything moves by fast. People are going to want to utilize devices that makes them even faster than the rest, so they can show it on social media and so on and so forth. So to be physically enhanced with this type of technology, they're going to do it. A lot of people are going to do it because it's going to be the new thing. Okay? These people love trends. It's crazy, right? So it says, going back to the article, it says the protesters were protesting the arrest of the former president or / prime minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. The tactic draws on the country's highly centralized digital ID infrastructure, which is managed by the National Database and Registration Authority, otherwise known as NADRA. Following a wave of civil disorder earlier in the year, the state has turned its attention to restricting those it believes were involved, though officials have not released exact figures. There you go. So this is all Skynet. Okay. This is all, what's the other one? Oh, shit. The one, Minority Report, I think that's what it is. Right, where they're able to stop crime before it happens, so to speak. AI is just able to just predict that, this guy right here, he looks like he's going to commit a crime, so let's stop him before he does it. It's like, by the very definition of a crime, you're not even going to be committing a crime, right? But you're just going to be a criminal. That's crazy. How are you a criminal without committing a crime? Because a crime only is applicable when there's a victim. Okay, if a cop pulls you over and he's like, hey, you committed this crime, you'd be like, well, where's the victim? If there is no victim, then there is no crime, by the very definition. You see? So it's like, okay, well, we're being called criminals, but we haven't really committed any crime. So what is this? It says, and that's again, that's where they have to get to. That's where they have to get to. This is all part of Revelation 13:11, where it talks about he had two horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon. Okay? The dragon part, the draconian part, you're going to see. And Trump is behind all that. He's going to be pushing all these things. A lot of these things, I should say. Okay? Incorporating a lot of this totalitarian, dictatorial, cruel / draconian lifestyle upon the people. all through technology. Okay, it says um, it says the action adds a new layer to NADRA's already significant role in overseeing identification and mobility in Pakistan. The agency had previously played a key part in enforcing nationwide SIM registration by linking phone access to verified ID credentials. There you go. Don't be surprised when things like that start happening in America. It already kind of is if you think about it. Right? Now that I'm thinking about it, if you really think about it, you already your phone number is almost synonymous with your identity. It's kind of crazy. Like if you go somewhere, they'd be like, okay, type in your phone number. They'll ask you, hey, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. Be like, phone number. And as soon as they type in your phone number, all your information pop up. Your name, your date of birth, where you live, all that shit pops up. Your card information, all these different things. You know, and we do most of these things we do willingly because we live in a system of consumerism. So Esau is predicating, on that consumerism because he's saying, well, since you want to be a consumer, I'm going to give you something to consume. But in order to consume it, you got to give me information about you. Data. So once you agree to these terms and conditions, you can consume my product. You don't really need it, but I made you feel like you need it. So go ahead, do it. But you have to agree. See, if not, you can't use my application. You see? So most of the times we put all your information in there. They ask you for your phone number, your email address, all these different things. You put it in there. Right? You go out, something happens, you say, oh, this is going on. They ask you, what's your phone number on file? You say that phone number on file, boom, all your shit pop up. You see? So they said in Pakistan, they said they had previously played a key part in enforcing nationwide SIM registration, your phone number, right, by linking phone access to your verified ID credentials. We already have that system here, so we're ahead of the game, right? The main aspect of the current operation is the use of geofencing, a surveillance method that defines virtual boundaries around locations and tracks which mobile devices enter those areas. And I'll give you an example. I was actually talking about Eve earlier this afternoon, and she was mentioning how a few years ago on Snapchat, they had this thing, which was, I think it was geofencing or geolocation or something like that. Right, that's what she said. And basically what that was, let's say I'm in New York City. If I'm in New York City, let's say specifically downtown Manhattan, right? I'm in downtown Manhattan, maybe 5th Avenue, whatever, right? 6th, 7th Avenue, whatever. While I'm there, I take a picture, right? You know, on these apps, they have these options that you could use with filters and shit like that, right? So on the filter, it gives different names. You know, you might have Sydney, you might have Osborne, you might have, Miami or whatever. So all these names pop up. So depending on where you are, so where I am in that time in New York City, 5th Avenue, you know, I'm probably going to Saks on 5th, right? I take a picture and I post it on Snapchat. But before I do that, I put a filter on there. I can use a filter. The only options I'm going to get will be filters with names from that area that I'm in, because my phone is pinging to know my location. So it shows, okay, based on this geolocation/geofencing, you're in New York City. So you're only going to get filters from New York City, whether you be in Soho or whatever, right? New York City. You go to Brooklyn and Brooklyn has its own geofencing. You're only going to get filters from Brooklyn and nowhere else. So geofencing on a higher level, in terms of how things are going to run, will be, depending on where you are, you're only going to get information from that area. You see, so if you're in New York State, and the geofencing, of course, they're going to break it down, but geofencing overall is New York State, you're not going to see information. Once you're in New York State, you're not going to be seeing information from Jersey or PA, right, or Vermont. You know, you're not going to get that. You see, you're not going to see that. Now, if you go to a different state, you're going to get information from there. So your phone is only going to feed you information from Vermont. You're not going to be able to get information from New York or anywhere else. So that's geofencing. And what that does is it gives them the ability to pinpoint where exactly you were at what time and so on and so forth, right? So this is all AI, satellite working, and all in your phone tracking, GPS, and all these different things. But also, when the MOTB comes out, that technology is already going to be in there. GPS tracking. That's why Biden said to Chief Justice Roberts, he said, there's going to come a time that you're going to rule on this, whether American citizens are going to be tagged with a trackable device. Trackable device. I thought it had no GPS in it. I thought it couldn't track you. See? So we're telling you exactly, they created it so it could track you. How the hell are they going to not have it track you when the whole goal is to track you? Doesn't make sense, right? Carbon tracking, carbon footprint, all these different things. It's all about the MOTB, okay? CBDCs, all that shit, all right? So it says here, by analyzing mobile network signals, authorities are able to determine who was present near protest hotspots during specific periods and take action accordingly. So you're going to be arrested. They will make it illegal, okay? A lot of people are going to be arrested, a lot. And that's all going to be part of testing that technology out. You're going to have drones coming, blasting people away, coming to your houses, to your doors, okay? Robot dogs pulling up on you, okay? AI police pulling up on you. You're going to see these things. They're going to be driving those nasty-ass Tesla Cybertrucks and shit, pulling up looking like, yo, crazy. All right. It says, the approach allows for highly targeted enforcement based on digital footprints rather than conventional investigative methods. Wow, digital footprints. So wherever you've been, going into something known as zero trust architecture, right? Which is with everything you do, it's like a blockchain. Everything is linked to another. And with everything that you have to do online, you have to verify your identity. So with every verification, it locks into place. Okay, this person was here. This person was here, because you're locking in. So every time you lock in, it records it. Every time you have to verify your identification anywhere, it will always record it that you were here. You were here because you verified it, right? So with that, they're able to chain it, chain it to know exactly where you've been at. That's the tracking part. Okay, so no matter what you do, no matter where you're at, they always, no matter what you say, they always gonna know where you at. Okay? They have that system now. How much more when this actual C-HIP comes in, when they start putting them to people's bodies? It's over. Right now, the technology is being tested right now. That same technology is just small, micro, and it's put underneath your skin. Okay? It says, the use of data to restrict identity documents marks a profound escalation in how digital ID systems are being weaponized. There you go. Okay? They're being weaponized. They're creating criminals out of nothing based on your information that you may have, that they might see as a threat. The social credit system, the social credit score is low because you believe in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? You're radicalized. You don't believe in the science. Oh, well, there goes your points. There goes your credit score. Or you believe in the Most High. You praying, you using herbs and stuff. There goes your credit score. You spreading misinformation. And the lower your credit score, the more of a threat you become to society. These niggas is rebellious. These niggas is not listening. They're not compliant. Look at this. They're going to categorize all of us. And meanwhile, we haven't done anything wrong. So continue, it says, in Pakistan, ID cards and passports are essential for almost every aspect of life. Banking, buying and selling. Public services, that also includes buying and selling. Travel, that's also buying and selling. And even mobile use phone, that's also buying and selling. Okay? Withholding these documents amounts to cutting individuals off from full participation in society. There you go. That no man might buy or sell save he that had the what. So if you can't buy and sell, that means you can't participate in society. A society that's based on commerce. Buying and selling is what runs society today. Okay? It says, While officials claim the suspensions follow established legal procedures, no specific laws or provisions have been cited publicly. That's a problem. The move illustrates how rapidly digital identity systems can be co opted for surveillance and coercion once they are embedded across society. Mm. It raises pressing questions about oversight, proportionality, and the potential for misuse in environments where due process may be opaque or selectively applied. All right. And what is opaque? Opaque is the opposite of uh, transparent. Okay. When something is transparent, that means it's clear. You can see it. When it's opaque, it's the opposite. So they leave things vaguely, they put things out there. So that way it's you can't really give it a yes or no. See? You can't give it a yes or no. They always put that in the documents. Everything is vague. Everything is vague. So that way you can't tie them down and be like, oh, you said this and we're not doing this. No. It's vague. So they can always switch it up. They can always change it up. One day they'll say this. Another day they'll switch up the verbiage, but they'll be saying the same thing. We're not going to be a part of the World Health Organization treaty, But RFK going to step up and say, well, we're no longer going to be using their ways of doing things, but we're just going to do it this way instead. Well, nigga, it's the same shit. Yeah, no, it's really not, because we're using AI now. AI changes the game. You see? Meanwhile, the FDA is behind closed doors, right? Behind closed doors, making all these things happen, saying, hey, listen, we're going to pass this. Emergency use. Go ahead. Use it. The Trump bill, one beautiful big bill. I think it's finally official now because I think Congress passed on it, right? So that's a problem. But when they passed it, you know how they said it? They said, oh, look, they highlighted the tax cuts and the no tax on tips, on tips stupid shit that they put in there. Nobody cares about that. No tax on tips. Okay? You got inflation. You got all these different things going on. Nobody worry about tax on tips. Not everybody has a job that deals with tipping. So what about the rest of the people? But that's what they highlighted. Oh, look, the tax cuts. Oh, this and that, They didn't really highlight what the things that this is hidden underneath that 1,000-page bill is going to be doing, which is allowing these companies to have immunity and yet still sell their product through the medical system by creating a false, demic. So they can push these things on the people, mass people, poisons on the mass people. They might take this video down, but guess what? It's the truth. All right? It's the truth, man. Okay? So when that time comes, man, stay strong because they about to start picking up and pushing that, that propaganda very soon. They're just gonna pick it up, man. Okay? And with AI and all these different things, man, it's easy to scare the hell out of a whole lot of people. And all you need is just a big enough group of people to spread the hysteria. That's it. Everything else will take care of it. So they don't really have to push too hard. Just get a group of people, about 50, 40%, 50%, 60%, 75% of the population. You know what I'm saying? That's all you need. You can start off with 10 or 20%, but you need that hysteria. And the rest, just like sheeple, all right, the sheep, everybody's doing this, so I'm going to do it too. Next thing you know, everybody wearing a mask. Then you have to push it like that. People going to get Vanessa's and shit. That cycle is going to come back again. You're going to be sitting there like, damn, you niggas didn't learn. They already told you this shit don't work. Why are you still? Well, the CDC said it, so, the scientists said, they recommend, So AI is going to be playing a huge role in how they're going to be, pushing the deception. They might set up a thing where you be watching TV. Next thing you know, they put up a whole AI scene. You watching it, they're breaking news. Oh, hospitals are overflowing. You be like, what the fuck? I just passed by this hospital, bro. It is dead up in there. What are you talking about? Hospitals overflowing. It's gonna look real, and people are gonna be, oh my goodness, oh yeah, hey, it's coming. Because remember, not a lot of people are in tune with what we know in terms of AI and all these different things. Right? We're paying attention to this because we know what it plays and what role it plays and how it plays out in the scope of prophecy. So we're paying attention to that. But the rest of the world, they're not really paying attention to the details of it. So that's how they're going to get got. They're not paying attention. Okay? They're not paying attention. But all these things is coming for them, man. All right, it's coming for them. All right, because they're not going to know what's going on. So they're going to fall for it. Okay? They're going to fall for it. But let me get this last precept here. And then we're going to close it out. And this is the book of Revelation, chapter 6. And start from verse 7. It says, "And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, 'Come and see.' And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. Hell followed with him. Hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth." Okay? So basically we're entering into a time where, as we've been saying time and time again, a time of Jacob's trouble, a time like never before, a time of great distress. Okay? Stress. Okay? As is written in Revelation 12 and 12, right? The devil coming down upon the earth having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. Okay, and it's not just to, we're not doing videos to, oh my God, you guys are always putting out information that's so scary, We're giving you warning. Okay, warning is supposed to get you alerted to what's going on before the pain and trouble comes. If you like to sit around and, push it to the next day and come against it, that's fine. That's fine. But just be ready to prepare, all right, to deal with the consequences of those actions. Okay? What sort of man shall let me get that. Book of Galatians 6 and 6 and 7. All right, it's the book of Galatians chapter 6 verse 7 says, Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Okay, so whatever you people are sowing, you're going to reap. And whatever we sowing, we're going to reap. Okay, so we're sowing everything in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So we're going to reap Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And that's the best reaping anyone can ever reap. A lot of reaping happening. All right, beautiful things. All right, hey, call on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Call on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, we're seeing these things come to pass, man. It's a beautiful time. Beautiful time, man. We've got to keep our faith. The more faith you have, the easier it will be to go through these things. Because it's coming. It's coming. All right? And we're going to get through it. Anyway, I'm leaving it off there. Lord willing, you are edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachakodash, the water Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.